Hello. All right, is my audio working today?
Mic check.
Mic check.
I can hear you both.
Okay, cool. There we go. All right, I am going to pull up the agenda.
Hello, everyone. Forum session. Hej, Ovind. Gosh.
Okay.
Hey, Sasha. Yeah, hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Handy for everyone. If anyone wants to add anything to the agenda and they haven't already joined the Google group, you're welcome to join the Google group and then have access to edit as you wish. And otherwise, if you need something added to the agenda, feel free to drop it in chat or speak up and we will help you get that done. I'm going to go ahead and share screen. All right, I think this is the right one. All right. Sure enough. All right. Welcome all to the Emporous weekly community meeting. My name is Pat Morgan, and I will be your host today. The agenda is open to everyone to add anything of interest to themselves or to bring attention to questions or any other PRs, mailing list items, or bug issues that might deserve additional attention or discussion. Today's agenda appears, how in the world, this is the wrong agenda meeting. This is Cooper. Whoops.
It's pretty cool, though.
It is. I just did that meeting this morning. So here we are.
So I checked it out. I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing.
It's a fun one. I did not mean to share the wrong screen. Let me try that.
I thought you were just testing us.
There I am apparently being tested. All right. Here we go.
Hey, Kat, I was having some AV issues when I joined. Did we do around the room for the new members or new attendees?
I'm getting to that. I was just looking at the agendas to start using the template, and then I realized I was looking at the wrong one. So let me go ahead and get the date set up here, and we'll go through it in normal order.
You must just claim it as an icebreaker. That's all.
There we go. See, got the room talking. It's a little more
Exactly.
casual now. It's totally on purpose. This is
exactly.
skills.
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew it was intentional.
Yeah.
I had a feeling.
All right. I
Yeah,
appreciate your
exactly.
faith in me, everyone. All right. So going ahead with the correct agenda pulled up, if everyone can go ahead and drop attendance on the agenda, it is a great help if you can log your attendance for us. We like to track that over time. And while everyone is filling out attendance, it looks like we definitely have a number of new attendees today. And this is the part where I love to invite you to speak up and introduce yourself. If you care to tell us why you joined today, or if you're just planning to lurk, we'd love the opportunity to welcome you.
I don't mind introducing myself. Is this the time to do it now?
Go for it.
Cool. So my name's Sasha. I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa. I've been with Ortelius open source project since the beginning, and this is how I found out about this meeting, was because Tracy sent us all the stuff. I'm sure she sent it to the other people too. So I'm ready, and I've been in a few meetings with the Emporous team, and it looks really cool. And I'm a DevOps engineer for a company based in Munich, although I'm in Cape Town. It's a fully remote job, and I'm tasked with cloud modernization of a client's applications. So all of their applications are going to be migrated to AWS. That's everything, front end, back end, and database. Yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. Anyone else?
No worries.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Utkarsh and I'm based out in India, currently working for Cisco as a software engineer. I've been associated with Tortillas for the last 2 years now. But I also came to know about this Emporous project through one of the mails that Gracie sent. So thought of joining in, looking at what interesting work, if I can contribute to any team shares. Yeah.
Great. It is wonderful to have you.
Hi everyone, I am Arvind, a college student from India. I am also part of Alteria's open source project and know about badges from them.
Thanks, Arvind. And last call, anyone else?
I'll go. This is my first Emporous community meeting. I've been slightly involved with the community before it had the name. My name is Martin Jackson. I'm a software engineer at Red Hat. I work on the validated patterns team here. I met Alex at DevConf US in Boston last year. And we spent quite a lot of time talking about Emporous and the things that are related to it. We have a conflicting team call during this time slot, but that was canceled. So I'm happy to be able to join this time and participate in this community.
So it's great to have you. All right. Looks like that's introductions. So this week I did not have the chance to pre-populate any of my own items on the agenda. And I do have some things to take care of still this week from last week's action items that I know I walked away from. We did discuss, Alex and myself, briefly, the possibility of switching from weekly to a bi-monthly meeting cadence, or I guess twice a month to be more specific. Just due to some of the current stretch, I guess, priorities of the core development team. So, Alex, do you have any additional thoughts on that, or anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, so we are, I guess, we're importing some of the Orus libraries into, I'd say that like a lot of Emporous right now, as far as the Go code is Orus for the artifact management, and they kind of went to a fortnightly meeting cadence, and I think that that's appropriate. I think it's good for our communities to be synchronized on some levels, because they're going to be engaging in some work for the OCI search API working group, and that's, I think that we're going to be closely aligned with that work and participating. So I would like to be synchronized with their with their community in some regard.
So what would that look like? I maybe I missed something.
Yeah, I would be I'd be cool with fortnightly meetings. I don't think they have to be on like their rotation, but I think if we had them in between the ORIS meetings, that would be it would be a good, nice complement to our existing like actual work duties outside of this community, not having too many meetings bundled in every week.
So would that be first and third, or second and fourth week, or do you know what that would need to look
I can look at Oris's. Okay, so they're off this week, so they'll be on next week. Their meetings are on Tuesdays. So that was not a helpful description of the situation. But if they're off this week, then I would suggest we do our meetings on the weeks that they're off, just to spread out the meetings.
Okay, so if we stick with second and fourth week. Or are they attached to specific weeks, or are they just every other week?
They just do every other week.
Okay.
And by the way, I don't want if that's not a concern of our community and we want a different cadence, like I don't think that we need to be like super coupled to them. I don't actually know how many people in this community are participating over there. So if that's not a concern here, then I'm more interested in what works for our community. That I just was making reference to them as a potential consideration.
Got it. Okay, so I'm in favor. Alex is in favor. Do we have anyone else in favor or any dissent?
I'm in favor.
Great, cool. Thanks. Okay. In that case, that is all the open floor and agenda piece items that I knew I was going to be hitting before jumping into PRs and such. I would invite anyone with general questions or curiosities, statements, kudos, whatever. I would invite you to go ahead and speak up real quick before we dive into the GitHub stuff. Don't be shy. Since it's not an overloaded agenda, open kind of free discussion is definitely welcome right now.
Wanted to learn about like more about where are we on the development front? If somebody wants to pick up some issues or something, do we have like some of the issues created for that?
Jennifer, are you comfortable fielding that question?
Yeah, so we're working on getting some contributing docs in place. We already have contributing docs on the repo that houses most of the code. I think that the backlog needs to be groomed a bit, but I would be happy to go through and create some additional issues and perhaps tag them with good first issue to help new contributors identify good things to work on. One of the pull requests that we're going to go over below has contributing information, and hopefully when that's merged in it, it'll give a good entry point in how to get started contributing to the community as a whole.
Oh, great. That was one thing that I was looking for.
And then if you haven't already joined the CNCF Slack's Empress channel, then if you see things and you need a little bit more clarity, or if you are looking for something and you want to speak up to get more clarity on what kind of things you can pick up or what directions you can go in, that Slack channel is a great place to reach everyone outside of the community meeting itself, or the mailing list if that is more convenient for you too.
Sure, sure. Another question, do you have like specific meetings related to architecture or development, or we have like sort of general meetings where we discuss all sort of agendas?
So that is, I think that's a great question. Right now, if you look at kind of like the laydown of the GitHub orgs and the way we've organized the content in there, I see it conflating the core architecture and then some of the ancillary concerns, like it would be pertinent to like schemas within the Emporous system. I think we had envisioned when we started this having something almost like a special interest group mechanism so that we could engage in focused conversations about the core technology, the core client of Emporous, and then have special interest groups that discuss things like, you know, security or whatever their schema specific application is. We don't have anything like that right now in place, but I think that's a need, that's an unmet need right now. Unmet need in our community right now.
So if I can attempt to summarize in an actionable way, if there is a particular application of Empress that you are interested in, and we either don't have design that covers that yet, or any organization around future designs for that need, then now is a great time to speak up, and we can, you know, direct attention to helping you sketch out what that special interest group would look like, and either lead the way, or if we have the right volunteers, pick up that torch and what is that what I'm hearing, Alex?
Yeah, and we do have a separate GitHub community or organization that's been created for community a collaboration and engagement. So if we had a special interest identified, we'd be able to provision a space within that organization where whoever has that concern of that special interest would be able to manage that special interest, that part of the community, and be able to collaborate within that space.
Great, that's nice.
I'll just add one thing to that. There's both of our GitHub orgs right now are managed by Parabolos, which allows us to create repos and perform other management within those GitHub orgs through PRs. So if there's a special interest identified, we just need to get a PR against Parabolos that will then result in the creation of resources within the org, or the alteration of those resources.
Yeah, so if we need to set up a home for a community effort, PR to Parabolos is how we would do that.
Thanks for answering that.
All right, then I'm going to go ahead and, unless there's anything else, jump into pull requests Jennifer. Thank you for adding some things there.
Kat, I can add one more thing. It's another topic. Maybe in the I'll add that as a to the agenda here.
Yeah.
If we go back to the Emporous CNCS Slack workspace, or the channel there, there's references to OCI search working group, and I think I made a reference to that earlier in this call. That is, and I was just gonna kind of like, this is like maybe a little bit of a technical aside for the call. So there's the Emporous client, which Jennifer's done a really good job of populating with a lot of the functionality that we've planned for the client so far. And then there's another effort that here at play, which is a search endpoint as an extension to the OCI distribution specification, and that would be how we do the semantic queries against the registry and get the content IDs resolved based on those queries. That effort is being as of last week, we voted within the Emporous community to start a working group to start defining that API, and then that work is going to be. There was some appetite from the OCI Technical Oversight Board to bring that from ORIS into OCI sooner than later. So I was just kind of letting the attendees here know we're very focused right now, I would say, with defining that search endpoint, because that's going to really unlock a lot of the capabilities that we've been planning on with the client. Right now, without that endpoint, the client is stuck to a lot of client-side graph traversal, and which is kind of isolated to a single namespace within the registry. So you would interact with an artifact within a repo within the registry, and then you could discover additional artifacts or linked artifacts from that entry point. The OCI search endpoint allows us to search the entire registry and discover content and their associations. So I was just kind of throwing that out there as a separation of concerns right now. This community is very focused on the Emporous client and then how we would interact with the graph that we would then try to further interact with that search API. I didn't know if there's any questions about that or if that had been established as a kind of the dynamic here with the work we're doing.
Cool.
Kat, was that coherent in any way?
It was a little meandering, but it included some interesting tidbits.
Yeah, so Emporous very focused on client-side tooling. OCI working group and ORIS we're engaging in the actual endpoint development. So the goal there is to marry those two up eventually.
Nice. I like that succinct description. That helps.
Just one more note for the Ortelius folks on the call. If you previously heard me discussing the distribution endpoint for Emporous, what Alex just mentioned, that will be it. So we're collaborating outside of the Emporous community to get that defined. So just didn't want to leave you hanging there.
I'm actually curious about, I guess, a little bit more of that. I was still a little fuzzy on what Empress was going to be developing in its own core repos, because I know we have the client stuff. That's pretty obvious. But I was uncertain if we are going to have our own Empress API, or if that is just something that we're modeling to pull upstream, or if there's going to be a hybrid, like some of it is upstream, and then there's still an Empress specific API that adds further enhancement, or if that is even all fully fleshed out yet or not.
So there's the OCI search API, and we can kind of just think of that as like distribution concern. There's an Emporous client API, and anybody who's familiar with Containerd, I think Jennifer kind of designed that as kind of similar to the way that Containerd does their. And Jennifer cut me off. It's the Containerd smart client. So so we have this gRPC API that the client can instantiate and then connect to, like in a remote relationship. But that's kind of like a service layer, like a remote capability within the client itself. But when we talk about like OCI search, we're talking about OCI's distribution extension that we're working on.
All I will add to that is the design, in my opinion, is not fully fleshed out. And I think that that is why we could really benefit from those design architecture meetings that were brought up earlier.
I'm very interested in those meetings specifically because I think that having focus around the core client design, and then making sure we're separating those concerns from the schemas that we talk about. I think that's very critical.
In that case, is our action that we need to take to establish the design meetings that we want to have? Is that something where we want to write up a proposal and then include as a core feature of one of our community meetings, or is that something that we would need to schedule outside of normal community meeting times? So I'm disinclined to do the latter, but I'm open to other opinions.
I'm interested in an idea of like maybe like working groups that are ancillary to this, but like a little bit more focused. People who are really concerned about the internal architecture of the core client, or who are concerned about things like, when I talk about schemas, I'm talking about other things like supply chain specific, like security controls and things like that we're right now registering by default in the client, but these are actually, you know, schemas that are would be handled like any other extensibility within Emporous. So like I think having focused working groups, I think there's some merit there. I think that in the interest of people's time, this might the community calls might be a great time to do some of that. I don't have any strong opinions about that, although I will cite my previous statements in this call about trying to reduce the number of meetings that we're engaging in.
Yeah, I'm going to encourage that we utilize community calls until and unless those additional kind of tangents outgrow our current schedule. And then if that happens, then that's when we can go ahead and establish additional meetings and such. Cool. All right, then it doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of proactive action that needs to be made for community support of those discussions. Just the proposals and the agenda items need to be added for it. All right. Not to move on prematurely again, but maybe we're ready to go ahead and do pull requests. Okay. Jennifer, I know last week I asked you to drop some of the important ones into Slack, and I have not lost track of the ones that I need to engage on. I apologize for being delayed on them though. What do we need to do on this one?
This one just probably needs a good review. It has most of the initial governance information in there.
Okay.
So just input from anyone. It has what Alex was mentioning about Parabolos. It has kind of like some how-to guides on how to edit Parabolos. And I'm not exactly sure if that verification PR got merged in, but hopefully we'll have some CI validation of Parabolos before we merge things into main. I
Yeah.
think that would help everybody.
Yeah, I remember
And then
that
it has
one was getting a lot of reviews. I think it should have been merged. If it's
Here,
not
I can
merged, it at
double
least
check.
has all the approvals on it. Last I remember, unless something changed.
It is approved. Actually, here, I'll put you on the spot. Alex, it's waiting on your approval.
Sweet. That's what these are for. Alex, do you have the right PR in front of you, or do you need a link real quick to knock it out?
No, I got it. I looks like I missed this one. I'm taking care of it.
Cool. That's what we're here for. Thank you. All right. In that case, oh, I guess. So this says it was blocked. Are we unblocked now and waiting on me, maybe? Okay, I will review. Sweet.
Awesome.
I can at least do that one today for sure.
Cool.
Let's see what else we got. Add an overview page as default. Let's see. Is there a specific ask on this one right now? Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry, I just wanted to ask one quick question. Are you using code spaces at all? It just allows.
Sounds like we should be.
No, I was just asking because for Atilius, I'm trying to lower the barrier of entry for developers, and GitHub is just awesome for that. But I don't want to shortchange the whole process here, so I'd rather ask when there's a better time. Yeah.
I have not invested a lot in learning the code spaces stuff yet myself, because it's not a workflow in my core day job.
Okay.
VS Code is, but code spaces specifically is not. I don't end up doing as much on GitHub.
Okay.
But I'm definitely intrigued by it. And if you kind of want to do almost a show and tell of how that improves your community and or collaboration life, then I would definitely welcome that kind of
Cool.
upskilling.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Thanks.
Does it make it easier to
And
go through your PRs or something?
It basically, I call it like a McDonald's drive-through for developers. They can basically just use their browser, come to your repo, click on code spaces, it deploys a container for you with all the tools they need without having to do anything, and opens VS Code in the browser and allows them to start submitting and coding right from the browser. That's it. Everything's done for you in the container. Container holds all the package and tooling that they'd ever need. Yeah.
So that's really cool you brought that up, because we already have a sandbox environment that has a registry and all the client tooling that you could need to do these workflows. So I could see we already have that container defined. It sounds like we just need to define that in a code space, right?
Exactly that. And you put it in your repo. It's a .dev container folder with a JSON file. And you just stick that in there, and I come to your repo and I can click on there, and it spins up that container, opens VS Code, and then I can start like contributing straight from my browser. So easy. You know what I mean? It's like really easy for developers or anybody to contribute, right? Without much
Sounds like we
pain.
are at the right stage to be implementing that. Is that something that you could implement in one repo or get started, and then we can collaborate on a PR to make actually fit say the
Yeah, sure.
Emporous Go repo or something?
Yeah, I would just all we need to know is what is it, and you can do one per repo, right? Depending on the code base.
Yes.
So that, yeah, exactly. So I would just need to know, you just need to know per repo what the minimum requirements are for tooling for a developer to be able to contribute meaningfully to the project.
That sounds really helpful. I know that definitely fits with Alex's style of workflow on his Chromebook.
Exactly, and it works amazing on Chrome.
You have spoken his language.
I see two lifelong friends in front of me now. Okay.
Classic.
Don't
Okay, cool.
take digs on Chromebooks until you tried it.
Yeah, I just wanted to raise it because in Ortelius, I don't know, Utkarsh and Arvin can also just, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just found it quite difficult for people to contribute, right? Everyone's so busy with they got day jobs and all that. Everyone does. And I'm just trying to lower that barrier. So I deployed, Steve gave me a repo and I played with it. And I actually just did it just before this meeting and it works amazing. Yeah, just wanted to let you
All
know.
for it.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Thanks. Sorry for
Brilliant.
interrupting there.
Yeah, if you want to open a bug on whichever repo, probably not I don't know that you'd want to do it. I can do it on the website repo after I see it done on, say, the Emporous Go repo.
So should I go and just create a branch there, right, or something, PR or whatever? I'll go and have a look. Yeah.
Fork it.
Yeah, cool.
Create
Fork
a
it.
bug,
Yeah, exactly.
fork it.
Oh, shame. Do we have to make it a bug?
Code spaces thing as well as you can,
Okay.
and then PR it back and associate it to the bug so we can discuss through it. And then even if you don't have necessarily all of the developer requirements lined out, we can.
Yeah, just so you can see what you can do. It's so powerful.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's
we can
amazing.
help fill in those question stuff.
And
then
so you get two flavors of containers. One is like 2 cores with 4 gigs of RAM, I think, and was it 4 core, and the other one is 8 core, I think. And then it's quite great for an open source project because you get like 30 hours free a month. So it's really pretty amazing from that point of view, right? Yeah. So just filling you in there. But yeah, I'll go and fork it now.
Are you sponsored by GitHub, or is there something I need to disclose?
No,
I'm kidding. I'm giving you a hard time.
Yeah, I sound like a salesman.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing that. Okay.
Also, the GitHub link in your website is pointing to a Facebook repo in the bottom of the page.
What was that?
The GitHub link in your website is pointing to someone else in the bottom of the page. It is pointing to here.
Yeah, we are doing a bunch of work on the. Oh, really? Okay. Sweet.
I can fix it and do the PR if you want.
That'd be great. Yeah, we have quite a bit of website work going on right now. Some of it is waiting on me, and I need to review some stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
That was a good call. I saw that DocuSource link and it totally spaced it. So thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
What is the state of this PR, and what do you need from us, Jennifer?
I think it just needs a review. Alex reviewed it. I think it might need just you and Andrew. It changes a lot of the messaging around Emporous versus UOR, and I know that we've done a lot of work for like rebranding UOR as Emporous, but what I'm trying to communicate on here, and I just want some feedback on, is whether we should be communicating UOR as like this is the model, and then Emporous is the implementation.
Yes, I believe that is correct, Alex.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for here.
I concur that universal object reference would be the conceptual model, Emporous being an implementation of that conceptual model. And so that's how I've been trying to separate those concepts, because I think that when we talk about Emporous client-side tooling, we conflate it with this idea of a conceptual model, and I think that it's really hard for people to separate those.
Yeah, I like the idea of making that distinction too, because the concepts behind UOR are big enough that they could be daunting for people to kind of pick up and want to engage with. But Emporous is, you know, kind of more specific, more targeted, more tangible. You know, definitely part of the framework and a solution. But I think, you know, this is the sort of distinction that you can make, explaining, and you can explain, and people will get it. You know, you can say it standing on one foot, the elevator pitch, if you will, and I think that's pretty valuable for a project in this phase.
Cool. I can get a review on that, and then I'm sure we can bug Andrew after that, and he'll probably knock it out quick. Cool. Okay. I guess I need to adjust the calendar invite and send out the update to the calendar schedule. Handle a couple of reviews, and that is all the there. I did drop a link to a Slack channel, Empress channel statement. So I don't know if Alex or anyone else wants to have a gander at that and reply if it seems of interest to you. But it looks like they are trying to key into specifics on UOR, and keeping that community alive in the channel is probably a good endeavor as well, while people are curious. So
Kat, I missed what you said my name, but I missed what the con.
Oh, I dropped a link for Slack chat in here. It might be something that you want to respond on, or if anyone else wants to, just to keep the flow of answers going in the Slack channel. It's an interesting question, and looks like the kind of thing that we would enjoy answering. So if anyone has the passion to do so, definitely jump in, take a look, and respond or discuss. And other than that, I don't see anything else on the agenda right now. So barring any other fun facts or kudos, all right, we have a few minutes left. Does anyone have a face palm worthy dad joke to end the meeting on?
This is where you can tell a really bad joke or something like.
This is where
really
you tell a really, really bad joke. And the threat is, if nobody else says one, I am going to.
Do you have?
I'm gonna have to just randomly read one off the internet, and you never know.
I have a standby here.
All right.
Yeah, you have a standby.
Yeah, I don't know. Alex may have heard this one. Memories fade since Boston, but a skeleton walks up to a bar and says, "Barkeep, give me a beer and a mop."
Have we hit the punchline already?
Skeleton can't drink beer without a mop. Everybody knows that.
Oh my gosh. It goes
you cut
right
out.
through them.
Oh my gosh.
It's actually really good, actually.
That's awesome.
Had me
Okay.
going.
That I'm gonna slow clap for that one. Good job.
Wow.
All right.
Should probably start a GitHub repo for those.
The dad joke repo. Hey, that's
Yeah.
a really great. You know what? We could start doing Emporous CLI examples where we like push dad jokes and such. You know, the
That
schema
would be
for
so
the
good.
Q and the A and everything. See,
Exactly.
there it is. This is our next how-to guide. I love it. Okay. All right. Well, with that, we have officially wrapped up the weekly, soon to be bi-weekly community meeting. Thank you all for your attendance and for your participation as well. It has been a very enjoyable one to host.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you, everyone. That was awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Guys, later.